Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please have a seat. The Office of the Assessor welcomes you to our 2022 Homeowners Resource Fair. Our goal today is to equip the community with the information they need in the following areas: accessory dwelling units and new construction, benefits for seniors, property transfers between family members, and tax savings opportunities for both homeowners and veterans. We are excited to have you all here and learn about these important topics. We will have experts conduct short presentations and offer on-site support after the program ends at the resource tables outside. I would first like to recognize our dignitaries before we get started. We have Huntington Park Mayor Graciela Ortiz, Huntington Park Vice Mayor Eduardo Eddie Martinez, our very own LA County Assessor Jeff Prang, California Board of Equalization Board Member Antonio Vasquez, Register Recorder County Clerk Dean Logan. Then we also have Huntington Park Council Member Karina Macias, Huntington Park Council Member Marilyn Sanabria, representing Congresswoman Lucille Roybal Allard, we have Christopher Perez. Representing Senator Lina Gonzalez, we have Abigail Mejia. Representing Assembly Member Miguel Santiago, we have Matthew Reese. And representing Supervisor Janice Hahn, we have Celestina Quebec. I now welcome Huntington Park Mayor Graciela Ortiz to come up and provide some remarks.
Thank you, Aldo. Buenos dias, good morning, beautiful city of Huntington Park. I'm Graciela Ortiz, the proud mayor of this beautiful city. I'm going to do mine in Spanish, if that's okay. A little bit of Spanish, a little bit of English. So just wanted to welcome you all to our beautiful Huntington Park Community Center. But one of the biggest things of why today is so important, ¿por qué hoy es tan importante? Because one of the things that we talk about a lot is the housing crisis. Hablamos de que no hay suficientes viviendas, right? And I always talk about, my colleagues and I always talk about, how do we help our renters become homeowners? ¿Cómo ayudamos que nuestras personas que están rentando sean dueños de casa, right? So one of the programs we have here in Huntington Park is the first time home buyer program. The application comes out June 1st. La aplicación para poder ser dueños de casa en Huntington Park es junio 1º, donde la ciudad de Huntington Park les va a ayudar con el down payment. So the down payment will be the city of Huntington Park will help you with the down payment if you are a renter in Huntington Park, right? So if you have any friends, if you have any neighbors that are renters, tell them about this program. When Aldo called me and when County Assessor let me know we want to have this resource fair here in Huntington Park, I said absolutely. Why? Because a lot of our homeowners always ask me, what about us? ¿Dónde están los recursos para nosotros? Me preguntan los dueños de casa. Siempre hay recursos para los que rentan. There's always resources for those that rent, but not enough for those that are homeowners. So here we are today. So we're going to have amazing workshops. Vamos a tener talleres that are going to specifically, we're just talking about it. There's one specific that Huntington Park residents are not applying for a tax exemption that you qualify for as homeowners. And Jeffrey Prang's office is going to let you know how you're going to do that. So es importante que nos juntemos para que sepan ustedes los recursos que hay para ustedes como dueños de casa. Really important for you to know about those. And us as a city, how do we get that information out to you so that it's easier as well? We're going to continue to work together. Once again, I thank you for being here. Please take advantage of the resources. Por favor, tomen ventaja de los recursos que hay, because we put a lot of groups together today to be able to provide these resources. So I want to just go ahead and introduce briefly my colleagues that are going to come up, and they just want to say hello. Vice Mayor Eddie Martinez, Councilmember Karina Macias, Councilmember Marilyn Sanabria, and Councilmember Manny Avila, who's a proud homeowner in Huntington Park as well. He just couldn't be here this morning. But I want to just give them really quickly the mic.
Good morning, Eddie Martinez, Vice Mayor. I won't repeat what the mayor said. So my message to you all as we hopefully move away from this pandemic is to be very active in your community. be very kind. If you have kids in school, talk to the teachers. And in your neighborhood, organize community cleanups so our homes, our neighborhoods are clean and safe. Now I'd like to invite up Councilwoman Karina Macias.
Very quickly. Good morning, everybody. Buenos días a todos. Karina Macias, concejal aquí en la ciudad de Huntington Park. Thank you to the office of Jeffrey Prime for bringing this wonderful resource to our homeowners. Como dijo la alcaldesa, muchas veces este tipo de recursos no llegan, pero ahora sí llegaron. Tomen ventaja, por favor, como dueños de casa, de agarrar todos los recursos que puedan. Ahí vamos a seguir nosotros teniendo comunicación con nuestras diferentes oficinas. So thank you for all for being here today, and I really appreciate it on behalf of all the residents. I'm going to pass on the mic to Councilmember Marilyn Sanabria.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marilyn Sanabria. I'm one of the council members here in the city of Huntington Park. First and foremost, I want to thank Jeffrey Frank for bringing these resources and also any staff that made this possible. It's early in the morning. This is a great turnout. Thank you so much for everyone that came out. If you know someone that wasn't able to make it, but you found some information, please share. This is some great resources for the homeowners. So thank you, and hopefully you enjoy.
Okay, without further ado, we're going to give the mic back to Mr. Aldo. Gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Huntington Park Council members. And thank you for the Huntington Park City staff for your service in the preparation for this event. Can we give them a hand of applause? Thank you. I now welcome Los Angeles County Assessor to come up and tell us a little bit about the Office of the Assessor.
Yay!
I had some notes. I'm not smart enough to do this on my own. But good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Homeowners Resource Center. I apologize that we were starting so early. I find that these meetings are a whole lot better if they start at 10:30. But I am, my name is Jeff Prang, and I'm the Los Angeles County Assessor. I'm delighted to welcome all of you to our 2020 Homeowners Resource Fair. Today's event is a one-stop event to have all of your property value, assessments, and other related questions answered. Before we get started, I did want to express my sincere appreciation for our community partners who came together to make this possible. Many thanks to Board of Equalization member Antonio Vasquez, who's a state constitutional officer. Very honored to have him in the community with us today. To Mayor Ortiz, Vice Mayor Martinez, and Council Members Macias and Sanabria, thank you for joining us this morning. One of my favorite things about being assessor is providing resources to everyone so that they can better understand how to navigate the property tax system, which admittedly can be very confusing. Resource seminars like these were such an instrumental way to get information out to the community before COVID, and I'm particularly heartened and emboldened to be able to return to the community starting here in the city of Huntington Park for our first in-person resource seminar. For those who aren't familiar with what the assessor is, I am one of 3 county-wide elected officials. Everybody knows the other 2. It's the sheriff and the district attorney. I administer a department with about 1,300 employees located in 6 different offices. Our office is responsible for the valuation of all taxable property in LA County, and that includes both land as well as buildings, although it also includes what's called business property, which is furniture, equipment, and machinery, although it also includes aircraft, commercial aircraft, as well as general aviation aircraft, as well as mobile homes and boats. Although we're responsible for the valuation of all taxable property, I want to make it very clear, I am not the guy who collects taxes. Everybody calls me the tax assessor. There's no such thing as the tax assessor. That's the conflation of 2 different offices. There's the assessor, and the guy who collects taxes has a very intuitive title. He's called the tax collector. And just to prove that, there's actually even a little tax collector booth out in the courtyard. We are the largest local property assessment agency in the United States. We're responsible for valuing over 2.5 million real property parcels and business assessments annually. In many ways, the assessor's office is the most important local government office because no other government agency can do their job until I've done mine. That means school board members, city council members, the Board of Supervisors. If I don't do my job well and thoroughly, then they don't have the resources they need to provide those vital services to the community. And what are those resources property taxes pay for? Police, fire, parks, this building, public hospitals. As you have it, I want to explain just briefly. There's a screen behind you somewhere. I want to just give you a brief idea of how the property tax system works. So, when you record a deed with Dean Logan here, he provides us a copy of the deed to your property, or the city building safety department sends us copies of your building permit. My people then do an assessment of the valuation of that property. We then turn that data over to another department called Auditor Controller. He's the one who tells you how much you owe, and they apply all the direct assessments. That data is then turned over to the Treasurer Tax Collector, which sends out the bills and collects the payments. The primary job of the assessor is the production of what's called the annual assessment roll, which is essentially the inventory of all taxable property in the county. It serves a number of critical functions. Obviously, the basis is that the base function is for deriving property taxes, but it also serves as an important planning document for local government. They will look at the assessment roll in anticipation of property tax revenues as they prepare their budgets. It also provides a very important economic indicator, giving us all an idea of what's going to be going on in the market. The real estate market, despite the pandemic from COVID, has been very strong. The residential housing market in particular was extremely strong despite COVID. Last year, property values in LA County increased by 3.7% countywide, adding about $63 billion to the assessment roll. This year, we're anticipating that property values will grow 6% countywide, adding over $100 billion to the assessment roll. But today, the total value of all taxable property in LA County is almost $1.9 trillion. That's with a T. And as you can imagine, that the market value is considerably higher. So it's always been my goal to offer and to maintain the highest level of public service, and today is just one of the many examples of our office responding to the community members and bringing available resources directly to you. I understand just how difficult it can be to navigate the property tax system, and that's why we designed this resource fair to answer a lot of the questions that are most important to members of the public. And in particular, a few new things that we know are important, and that's accessory dwelling units, whether it be from Lancaster, Long Beach, or Claremont to Calabasas. Residents of LA County have similar concerns regarding the impacts for all property owners. Today, experts from my office will be providing detailed information about ADUs and new construction, about parent to child and grandparent to grandchild transfers under the new law, Proposition 19. Another important thing that people don't know what to do is what happens when there's a death of a property owner. Not done properly, somebody could end up getting a tax bill that they're not supposed to. And we're also going to talk about tax savings. And as the mayor had indicated, there's a program called the Homeowners exemption. If you own a home and you live in it, you qualify. But here in the city of Huntington Park, we estimate that 40% of all homeowners don't apply for this tax savings, and they don't apply because they don't know about it. So we're going to tell you about it today. We'll tell you how you can get that. In addition, we have representatives from numerous county departments, and as well as representatives from local funeral homes, and who tell you a little bit about the steps that you need to take when there's a death in the family as it relates to your property. As the legislative landscape continues to evolve, I am committed to providing all property owners and all people in LA County with necessary information to handle any situation that may arise, especially concerning the major changes ushered in by Proposition 19. Proposition 19 lets you do two things. If you're a senior, you can move and your taxes won't go up. If you have children, you want to inherit your property, they can inherit it, but they cut the benefits. This new law cut the benefits for your children and grandchildren, unfortunately. So during the next hour, you'll have the opportunity to listen and engage with members of our office. In the event you're not able to ask questions, or if your questions go unanswered, you can certainly reach out to us, to any of the staff who are here today, and we try to make ourselves easily accessible by phone and by email. I did want to again thank the City of Huntington Park for your warm hospitality today. I want to thank Congressmember Lucille Cuerval-Howard, Supervisor Janice Hahn, Senate Majority Whip Lorena Gonzalez, Assemblymember Miguel Santiago, and to all of our county departments, the LA Registrar Recorder, County Clerk, the LA County Treasurer Tax Collector, the LA County Library, Department of Consumer and Business Affairs, the Executive Office, Assessment Appeals Board, and the LA County Department of Regional Planning. We're all here today to help answer your questions. And also just want to thank all of our volunteers, all of my staff, Aldo, who's a part of my team, who's hopefully will be entertaining and informative MC for you today. Thank you all for being with us today. I don't want to take any more time, so I know that you're all here to learn a lot of important things, and we want to get right down to it. So Aldo, we're great. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Assessor Frank. I now welcome board member of the California Board of Equalization, Antonio Vasquez, to come up to the podium.
Thank you. Buenos dias a todos. As I look across, I guess there was translating this thing here, and it's not working, so I'll try to do a little bit of Spanglish with you as well. Pero para comenzar, les quiero dar las gracias a todos ustedes que vinieron esta mañana para escuchar cómo podemos ayudarles, especialmente con los diferentes grupos que están afuera. Deben de tomar el tiempo y hablar con ellos, especialmente gente que son dueños de sus propiedades. I think one of the key things here for me today is to make sure that you all take advantage of all the services that are here. You know, you have people from the county, you have the mayor, the city, and other resources like the tax collector. I saw a table out there. We have our own table out there, also the BOE, and my staffer is out there staffing it, Juan Carlos Flores, and by all means, he's bilingual, habla español también. You know, please ask them any questions you might have or concerns you might have, and hopefully they can facilitate that for you. I think the key thing for me is, and the assessor mentioned it earlier, is Prop 19, to me, I think is really going to hurt a lot of our Latino families. A lot of the gardeners that I know that I grew up with, their parents were able to acquire several properties over the years because they bought them 20, 30 years ago. And now, under Prop 19, you're only going to be able to pass on one of those properties to your children. And that's if they live in it. The others you can still pass on legally, but they're going to be reassessed and taxed. And the assessor and I were aware of this when it was being developed at the legislators, and they kept telling us that, don't worry, we're going to tweak it and we're going to improve it so it doesn't hurt a lot of these folks that have been working very hard to acquire these properties, but at the end of the day, they didn't. So I was very disappointed, so was the assessor. At the end of the day, we can't pass legislation. We can only support and inform. And I'm hoping as you find out about this moving forward, you'll understand it, because I think there's a move down in the future, hopefully to reverse that or to modify it. And I think we all need to engage and get involved with that. Because if we don't, a lot of your kids or your inherited folks that you pass on property to are going to get hit real hard on that tax bill. But for now, we're stuck with it. Hopefully in this next cycle, maybe during the presidential cycle, there might be an opportunity to put that on the ballot. But I wanted to just give you a little bit of information in terms of what the BOE, kind of like the assessors, you know, we're out there and people really don't really know or understand. Oh, it looks like it's coming back on. So they'll help me a little bit with my Spanish. But anyway, I think one of the key things moving forward for us, as on the State Board of Equalization, we're broken up into 4 districts. And the new district under the redistricting for me, my district is the whole county of LA. Before that, when I first got elected in 2018, I had Ventura County and a little sliver of San Bernardino. But in the redistrict, they took that from me. But actually, I think it makes it a little bit better for me, because now my concentration is strictly the LA County, which is where we're sitting in now. There's roughly about 80-something cities in the county. And I work with my other colleagues, the other 3 members up in Sacramento, We have actually our public meeting coming up this Tuesday. You're all welcome to log on and listen in. You can do it virtually, or for those that are able to get up there, you can actually go in person. Those are public meetings up in Sacramento. But at the end of the day, we set policy for the assessors of 58 counties, and to make sure that it's equitable taxation, whether you live down in San Diego or you live up in Humboldt, way at the other end of the state. It's all supposed to be equitable. Everybody should be paying their fair share of taxes. And for those of you that have businesses or run a business, a lot of times I hear from you folks at the end of the day, when you are working with a bookkeeper that maybe thinks he's paying the right amount of taxes, but then at the end of the day, 2-3 years down the road, you find out that they weren't making the right payment, and then you get hit with the franchise tax board that sometimes comes down kind of hard and tries to go after your business. And we've been able to facilitate and work with some of those folks. You still have to pay those taxes, but we sometimes could work and try to alleviate the penalties and the fees, because in many cases, those fees and penalties are usually more than what you owe. So I want to really thank Jeff Prang, our assessor here, for putting this together, to getting this information out, and thanking the Mayor Ortiz for your hospitality and for welcoming us into your city. And I understand this facility is fairly new, and it's a great resource, but a lot of these things that come back to you come through property tax. You know, and if you go to our table, we have a little brochure that kind of breaks down where your tax dollar goes, but really a majority, well, like 50 cents of the dollar that's being taxed on your property goes to our schools. And then I think it's about 16 cents of every dollar goes to the counties, and I think it's like 13 cents of that dollar goes to our cities to help for your facilities and your resources. So with that, I just wanted to thank you again, and I hope you do take advantage of it. By all means, if we can be of any service to you, reach out to us, let us know what we can do, or at least if we don't have the answers, we can hopefully reach out and find out from others that are here, whether it's our assessors, your mayor, or other elected officials, your congressmen. You have some real good representatives here throughout the state of California, and specifically in the county of LA, and you need to take advantage of that. Thank you very much for coming out. Muchísimas gracias. Hopefully, espero que traducido todo lo que está hablando en inglés, aquí en español, pero si no, con mucho gusto pueden conectar con nosotros. Tenemos a mi asistente aquí atrás, que está atrás, a Juan Carlos Flores, y también los miembros aquí del alcalde y los representantes aquí en la ciudad. Gracias por todo.
Thank you, Board Member Vasquez. It's great to have you here. Last, but certainly not least, I welcome Registrar Recorder and County Clerk Dean Logan.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here this morning in Huntington Park. My name is Dean Logan. I'm the Registrar Recorder County Clerk for Los Angeles County. I want to start by thanking Assessor Prang and the Mayor and Council members for the opportunity to be here this morning. I hope what you see today is that this represents the commitment to partnership in community education and sharing community services for all those we serve here in Los Angeles County. And I can say specifically that it's a pleasure for my office to work in partnership with the County Assessor on things around home ownership and the public records in LA County. I want to start by, well, I guess let me tell you a little bit about my office first. So the Registrar, Recorder, County Clerk is, I think we all think we have unique departments, but I like to say that when they designed county government, they took everything that didn't fit somewhere else and they added a hyphen and a slash and called it the Registrar, Recorder, County Clerk. So we do a variety of, or provide a variety of public services, but the common thread between those public services is we have the very significant responsibility of maintaining the significance and history of you as an individual member of the LA County community. So those significant moments in your life, the birth of a child, the death of a family member, getting married, owning a home, opening a business, and your right to vote. Those are all things that we're responsible for making sure that you as an individual have those significant moments preserved. So I want to share just a few things. I know today is focused on home ownership, so I want to share a couple of things related to that today. There's a new law in the state of California that was passed in 2021, AB 1466, and we're very excited in LA County to see this law put into place, and it is to remove discriminatory restrictions from our historical property records. And this has to do with the history in the United States and here in California was not always as inclusive as the world that we live in today. And sadly, the effects of racism and segregation made their way into our real property records. These restrictive covenants, as they're called, include discriminatory language that dictated who could and who could not purchase specific properties based on protected classes like race. And while these restrictions have been outlawed for some time, those words still remain in many of our public records for historical purposes. So this law allows my office to now go through those historical records and actually to remove or redact that language from those property records and make a statement that in California and in Los Angeles County, that type of discriminatory and restrictive language is not appropriate. As you can imagine, this is a significant undertaking in a county the size of Los Angeles County. We have over 450 million pages of real estate records that are preserved in our office. And so we are now in the process of working through a process to go through those records, identify where that discriminatory language is, and strike it from the public record. As homeowners or future homeowners, what you should know about our office is we are the place where the permanent record of homeownership is maintained. So if you need the history of ownership on a piece of property in your community or a piece of property that you purchased or you're considering purchasing, we have that record there. Once you become a homeowner, those records are maintained in our office too. And anytime you need a copy of your deed or any of the information, or if you're transferring that property to another property owner, we're the office where those records are maintained. Our headquarters are in Norwalk, but we also have offices with our real estate records in Lancaster, at the LAX courthouse, and in Van Nuys. So that information is available. It's public record. It's available to all residents of LA County, and we're here to serve you in that capacity. We do have an information table out front with the other departments. I encourage you to stop by. Let us know how we can serve you better. Finally, given the time of year and the date that we're meeting here today, I would be remiss if I did not also mention that other part of my job, and that is the administration of elections. So we are weeks away from the June 7th statewide primary election. Vote by mail ballots are already out. You should have received those in the mail. Voter registration is still open for that election, so if you're not registered or you know somebody who's not registered to vote, they can still get registered. You can do that today at our booth outside, or you can do it online through Monday, and we will get a vote by mail ballot out to you. And then starting on May 28th, our in-person vote centers open up for those people who need the services or prefer the services of the in-person voting experience. It's a very important election. Every election is important, but this is a ballot that spans from local contests and issues right here in the city of Huntington Park, all the way up to offices like the United States Senate. So this is your opportunity and the county assessor, I should mention, since he's here in the room. So it's an important election. It's your opportunity to have your voice heard and encourage you to participate in that election as well. So again, thank you to the assessor and to the city. It's an honor to be here and to serve you. And if we can provide any additional information, please stop by at our booth outside. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Logan. And I was just telling him that I saw him yesterday on the news at Rosen High School doing public education on voter outreach. So thank you for all the work you're doing. So we will now begin our short presentations by our experts in property tax administration. Our first topic is accessory dwelling units by Jennifer Butzak, Director of District Appraisals. Welcome, Jennifer.
Good morning and buenos dias. Over the past 5 years, our office has witnessed a major increase in the interest and construction of ADUs. Some property owners see them as investment opportunities and a possible solution to issues like our affordable housing challenges, and others just realize the need for more space or additional living quarters for their family members. Historically, building a duplex or additional units on your property has been common for property zoned for multifamily housing. However, Recently passed legislation known as SB 9 was intended to encourage development for more housing, including ADUs. Los Angeles County has over half its residential land dedicated to single-family zoning, so we expect this trend to continue. This large increase in ADU construction and conversion has been overwhelming, and much more information is now needed so that property owners can plan for these additions effectively and wisely. So, how does the assessor's office fit into all of this? Well, the building of, and sometimes the alteration of an existing structure to be used as an ADU is considered new construction for property assessment purposes. When new construction, such as the addition of new residential units, occurs, the property will be reassessed. A reassessment due to new construction does not mean your whole property will be reassessed. Instead, the cost to construct the ADU is used to establish the value. That value is then added to the existing assessed value of the land and other structures on the property. The result is a new base year value for the entire property upon which taxes will be based. And generally speaking, new construction is assessed using the cost approach. The costs used by our office may not necessarily be your cost, but rather standardized regional costs that are typical of materials used for the quality of construction. An ADU can be attached or detached from the main dwelling. No matter how small it is, it does require a kitchen, a bathroom, a sewer connection, and permits. In general, replacing what is already there is not considered new construction. For example, if you replace the roof with a new roof, that is not reassessable. However, if you are altering a garage by adding the features necessary to convert it into an ADU, such as a kitchen or bathroom, there will be an upward reassessment. The increased property taxes after the whole permitting processing does catch many people by surprise and can cause some anxiety. That's why proper planning is so important. Let me give you an example. If you construct an ADU and it adds $250,000 in the overall value of your property taxes will increase approximately $2,500 per year, or 1% of the added value. However, note, you should also include about another 0.25% of the value to account for direct assessments such as sewer fees. Generally, the higher cost incurred for the construction, the higher the added tax will be. Building an ADU can be a complex and daunting process, but we hope this example and presentation helps you understand some of the implications of building an ADU that you should consider beforehand. For more information on how ADUs or new construction impact your property, our team is available to assist you at one of our resource tables, and I'm happy to take any questions from our audience about new construction. Yes, sir.
Well, you just mentioned that if you convert a garage, that your assessment will go up, right?
Correct.
Is that on the whole house though, then? If it's added to the garage or just the garage portion?
The garage portion is added to your existing taxes. So it costs you $100,000 to convert the garage to an ADU, a bedroom, for example. Take 1% of that $100,000 added to what you're already paying, and that's going to be your new tax bill, more or less, approximately. Any other questions about new construction? Yes, sir, I see your hand up.
You know, like a 800 to 1,000 square foot addition, what would be the taxes on something like that? Or is it different? It all depends on what you live.
It depends on the cost and quality of the construction. So if you build an 800 square foot, very simple 2-bedroom unit, that may cost you $200,000 to build that. But if you build 1,600 square feet with 3 bedrooms and very fancy finishes, and it costs you $400,000, the more you spend on it, the higher your taxes will be. That's how you should look at it.
No, but I mean, so it's no standard. I mean, like if you just do a basic, because that'll be the better way to do it. Is what you're saying. Is it's just you basic when you initially build the ADU, and then after you leave there, maybe you might add some wainscoting or some stuff like that. You maybe put granite in instead of mica. And then, because you don't need a permit to change it, just like you just said with the change the window, was it?
That's right. If you change your windows, if you re-roof, those kinds of things are not reassessed. But the higher quality materials that you put in your ADU, the more attractive it is to the market, right? The higher the cost is. So that will be added to your existing taxes. But if you do a very simple construction, it doesn't cost you very much. That is, take 1% of that and add that to your existing tax bill to get an idea of how much your new taxes will be.
And we remind you that we have the public service tables outside for very specific questions.
Yes, thank you. I
We'll
see
move on.
another hand up. Yeah, let's move on.
We have a question over here.
Okay.
Oh, hello. Yeah.
Hello.
I have a question. I don't know what mayor, maybe it was Eric Garcetti, that he allowed this to happen with the ADUs because, you know, he wants to curb homelessness. Now, I think part of the deal was that if the city of LA, if they permit the homeowners to construct ADUs, that the homeowners would in turn, is that they would rent on a lower rental basis. But if you get an investor or a person that is going to convert his garage into an ADU, well, he's going to look at the rents around the area, the comparables, and say, look, I could rent out a 1-bedroom for there's a program that's called HUD-VASH. That stands for Housing of Urban Development, Veteran Affairs, Shared Housing. For 1 bedroom, they'll give me like $1,800. So what's the point, or how do we curb someone like that? You know, instead of renting their ADUs for a lower rent per month than just going all outright and renting it for the maximum. I mean that's the thing. What I'm trying to say is that the city of LA is that they're doing all of this to help homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you guys how will we control it?
Well, at the assessor's office, we're responsible for assessing the structures on the property and identifying ownership. So what your particular city, the rules or regulations in place about rent are not associated with the assessor's office. I can assist you with the property taxes and how your ADU or new duplex or new apartment or new building is assessed, but I cannot assist you with the rent information. Another question?
Yeah, will the ADU, the tax will apply the same, like 1% increase as the ADU?
It's the same applied, whether it's a junior ADU, whether it's a second house, whether it's an apartment. Your taxes are about 1.25% of the total cost incurred, generally speaking.
We have room for one more question.
I listen to
Yes,
the
sir.
radio all the time with the news, and nothing is ever said about these homelessness. They come in from out of state. Nothing is said about that.
Yes. Well, with this new ADU encouragement, the lawmakers are trying to encourage more housing to be constructed instead of in the past. You know, it's very common for duplexes and triplexes to be built, but now they're trying to utilize all of those single-family homes that you see. They're trying to encourage homeowners to develop as an investment opportunity for additional housing on those particular lots. We'll have more information for you right outside in our table. We've got a lot of terrific assessor staff and very friendly who are willing to, they speak Spanish and can assist you with any particular questions you might have. Now I think I'm going to turn it over to the next speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. And I'd like to remind you, yes, we have more assessor to public service tables outside, so if you have further questions on the topic of new construction and accessory dwelling units, please visit our tables outside. Again, I would like to thank Jennifer for coming up and providing this presentation. At this time, I would like to welcome Clarence Amamida and Arby Stefanian, both ownership services supervisor in ownership services. They will discuss Proposition 19 and what to do upon the death of a property owner. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Arby Stefanian.
And I'm Clarence Amameda.
We are managers in Assessor's Jeffrey Prank's Ownership Services Division. This morning, we want to share some information on two topics that impact homeowners and families. First, we'll discuss Proposition 19.
What is Proposition 19? In November 2020, a ballot measure dramatically changed the exclusions available for family transfers. These are intergenerational transfers where parents transfer their home to their children or vice versa. And in some cases, transfers between grandparents and grandchildren. These measures also change the property tax relief available for seniors 55 years of age and older, the disabled, and victims of wildfire and other governor-declared natural disasters. The Proposition 19 parent-to-children new exclusion rules took place as of February 16, 2021. Only the home that the parents or children live in can qualify for property tax relief. This new requirement means the parents must live in the house and that at least one of their children they transfer their home to must also live in the house. And the child must claim the homeowner's exemption exclusion. So if you own a building you use as a retail store or other business, and you transfer it to your children as of February 16, 2021, the property will be reassessed at the full market value, which is the price it would sell for, and the taxes will increase. Also, if you transfer a home or a duplex to your children and they do not move in, it will also be reassessed at full market value, or what you could competitively sell it for in the open real estate market. The new law also limits how much value can be excluded from your home. If the home value is more than $1 million, the property taxes will probably increase some. There is a calculation to determine by how much. So to receive the exclusion benefit, if you transfer your home to your children, first, they must file a Proposition 19 exclusion claim form. Then they must move into the home within 1 year and file for homeowner's exemption or disabled veterans exemption. If these filing deadlines are not met, prospective relief may be granted in some cases. But to receive the maximum relief, all of the criteria I mentioned must be met. If they later move out, the exclusion will be removed, and the property's assessed value will be increased. We can provide more information and answer specific questions at our resource table. So Arby, can you tell us more about Prop 19 relief?
Sure. For the senior, disabled, and victim of wildfire or natural disease relief component, base year value exclusion, it became effective as of April 1st, 2021, and it expanded the benefits. It allows the owners to transfer their property tax value to any county in the state, provides the exclusion up to 3 times, allow owners to buy out to purchase homes that cost more than what they sell. If the home you purchase is more than the home you sold, the value difference will be added to your old property tax assessment base. But if you qualify, you're not assessed at the full market price for which you purchased your home. Our website has a calculator that helps you estimate your new assessed value for these types of base year value transfer exclusions, and for the family transfers Clarence discussed earlier. If you're a senior, you will need to provide proof of age. Another documentation also may be required based on the type of exclusion you're requesting. None of these exclusions are automatic. You must apply for all of them by completing the correct form. The forms are available on our website, and our office has to review and approve them. Clarence, can you now share some information on what needs to happen when someone dies and they own a home property?
Absolutely. Thanks, RP. Although this may be a difficult time for family members, most people do not know when the property owner dies, the person responsible for handling their affairs, their spouse, their executor, or successor trustee, needs to contact our office and complete the change in ownership statement, death of real property owner. A death of an owner is a change in ownership. It is essential to remember that our office needs the person responsible for handling the decedent's affairs to notify us timely within 150 days of the property owner's death. Submitting the change in ownership statement, death of real property owner form is very important because timely notice ensures that our records are updated and reflect the correct ownership. It also may prevent tax penalties and escape assessments, which may result in the generation of a lot of tax bills for several years at one time. Notification is even required, even if the trustee dies, if it is held under the trust, if there's a will, if there's no will, or if the property is in probate. You still have to file a change in ownership statement, death of real property owner. So RP, do you want to add some more?
Yes, and if the person receiving property qualifies for an exclusion, there are specific time limits that they need to meet to get the property tax relief. Again, not filing on time may result in higher taxes and penalties and a denial of an exclusion claim. If you have a specific question, please visit the resource table, and our team will be happy to answer them and to make any referrals. Thank you.
So we're opening the floor for any questions here from the audience. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yes, if the husband and wife got a divorce, does that mean that the residence of the husband can be passed to one child and the residence of the wife can be passed to another child, assuming they have different residences?
Well, for that particular example, both husband and wife should be eligible for homeowners exemption, so which means that both husband and wife should have established that the property was their principal residence. So, and then if it gets transferred to one of the kids or two other children, then one of the child should be claiming homeowners exemption, and that property, they should be living in that property within 1 year of the transfer.
It's two separate properties.
Is it?
When they get divorced, the husband lives in one and claims homeowner's exemption for that. And
Oh,
the
yeah, that's
second
fine.
Property, the wife claims a
Right.
principal residence, so now each of them can
I
pass
see.
it to two kids now individually.
Exactly. As long as it has been established that the transfer is principal residence, and both children or whoever's getting that property will also apply for homeowner's exemption within the 1 year of the transfer, then they're good.
What is the what's the exclusion for senior citizens?
It's Proposition 19 base year value transfer.
So what if you don't get anything extra for a senior citizen, right? Like if you were.
Well, the purpose of the base, if I may interrupt you, the purpose of the base year value transfer is if you sell your house that you live in and you purchase a house, you may be able to transfer, and if you're over 55 years of age, then you will be able to transfer your base year value from your old house to your new house.
Which means you won't get a tax increase if it's of equal value.
Exactly.
What's a probate?
Probate, if the property is not held in a trust, if the property is just held under, let's say, Clarence and Mameta, by, it's not in a trust, just an individual name, and if I pass away, it has to go to probate, and there's no will, you still have to go to probate.
I know, but what is it? What do they do? What's the
Well, you have to file probate documentations at the probate court once someone passed away.
I know, but what do they do? What's up?
Establish the heirs of the property.
Hi, good morning. I'd like to know when a person passes, like my mom, and me and my sister's name was already on the property. Anyway, I want to know, since our names were already on the property, do we have to pay higher taxes?
Was mom originally on the title, or just you and your?
All three of us.
All three of you guys. So if all three of you guys and mom is transferring to you and to your sister, or how?
We just dropped her name.
Oh, okay. Well, if the property was reassessed due to removal of mom's name, then you may qualify for Prop 19 relief as long as all the criteria are met.
Thank you.
One more question over here.
Morning. My father recently passed away, and an adult son was living with him for the last year and a half. The property itself, they were living in a 2-bedroom home, and in the back of that there was a triplex. However, they haven't been renting that triplex for the last 25 years. It's been more just like storage. So now that my father's passed away, the house was the property's in a living trust. What, I don't know if I'll be able to apply for anything regarding tax-wise, or what would happen in that situation?
We can check your, your qualification for Proposition 19. We need to review it. We can see the book to give you more detailed information on that.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a room for one or two more questions.
In the case of a parent, when they pass away and the child moves back to the house, they have a year to move back, and you say that they would qualify for the, avoidance of increased taxes or reassessment. What is the time limit? Like they have to live there at least a year or indefinitely?
The children must,
for not getting reassessed on the taxes. So if the child is not living in the house, but I understood they will need to be back in the house within the year, so for the property not to be reassessed. If there's a limit that they will, or if they decide to move away, not to stay just a year or 2 years in the house, is there a limit in that? Their time.
Well, we just have to establish that whoever is living in whoever is going to move in that property, for example, the child must live within 1 year from the date of transfer. Now, if should they move out, like what I've said earlier, then the property will be subject to reassessment, because ultimately what we want to establish here is the transferor, which is the parent who's transferring the property, used to live in that house or still live in the house, and the transferee, the child who's getting that property, should be living in the house and have homeowners exemption. So there is a possibility that if that child moves out, then the property will be reassessed because they're no longer living in the house, per se.
My question is, like, if they move out, let's say, like, within 2 years after they're living in there, if they move out 2 years, 3 years later, because they have to transfer to a job, let's say,
Reassessed. Property will
so it
be
doesn't
reassessed.
matter how many years they live together. It will
Yes.
be reassessed.
The children would need to live in the property.
So if a child moves in and they stay there, they get in there within the year, they live there for 3 years, and there's more siblings, can another one come in behind that one?
Yes, the sibling must file homeowners exemption.
So if there's 6 children, you do it 6 times.
We have to have that homeowners exemption placed on the property.
That's fine, but it could be done.
Yes.
And that's the way the law was written. So we're just doing the best like this to make sure we educate the public. And we have room for one more question.
Hello. Yeah, I know nobody likes to pay taxes on, especially on the property, or any taxes, in my opinion. Okay, couldn't we just, instead of like say, yeah, I do want your business card after, but say if I cannot qualify for that Proposition 19, why don't I just do a tax deferred 1031 exchange and avoid the taxes?
That's something that you have to seek legal advice, sir. But, if you do wish to go that route, we would highly recommend for you to get legal advice if that property will be subject to reassessment. Because once you do the deed, once you transfer the title to your name or to whoever, it's not guaranteed that it will be or it will not be subject to reassessment, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Clarence and RP. Again, if you have any specific questions regarding this topic, consult with the Assessor Resource Table outside. And I will now introduce Chief Appraiser in Assessment and Public Services, Frank Diaz Jr., who will discuss tax savings opportunities for homeowners. Welcome, Frank.
Good morning, buenos dias. Like I was mentioned, I'm the Chief Appraiser and I oversee assessment and public services for the Assessor's Office. Today I will be providing some information about homeowners exemptions. California property tax law provides for a $7,000 exemption to be applied to a property owner's principal residence, and that's each year. You only have to file one time, and as long as you continue to live there, you'll receive that exemption. So that translates to about $70 in savings annually. The exemption is available to individuals who occupy the property as their principal residence as of January 1st each year. To receive the full $7,000 exemption, a property owner needs to file a claim, and as long as it's done that first time, it'll continue as long as they own the property. So that has to be done by February 15th. If a property owner files after the 15th of February, they still qualify for an 80% exemption, which equates to about $5,600 annually, or for that first year. After that, it will be the $7,000. Additionally, you can get an exemption if you're a new property owner, as long as the principal residence within 90 days of the date of acquisition. As long as the property owner is not already receiving the prior owner's exemption. If the property received the exemption but not the full exemption, you can get the difference of those two exemptions. For a new property owner to receive the full $7,000 exemption, the claim must be filed with the Assessor's Office by 5 p.m. on the 30th day following the receipt of the supplemental tax assessment. If the property owner files their claim after the 30th day, they still also can qualify for 80% exemption, or $5,600, to be applied to that supplemental assessment. If you're a new homeowner, a claim form will be mailed to you automatically, but it's also available on our website. There's no cost to file, and once you receive that claim, as I mentioned before, you don't have to ever file again as long as you own the property. Until you sell that property, you get that exemption. So now that I've gone over filing requirements for the exemption, let's take a look at some frequently asked questions about the homeowner's exemption. First, what type of properties are eligible for the homeowner's exemption? Properties eligible for the homeowner's exemption include single-family residences, structures containing more than one dwelling unit, condominiums or units in cooperative housing projects, houseboats, manufactured homes or mobile homes, land you own on which a state licensed trailer or mobile home in which you reside is located. Another common question we receive is, how do I know whether or not my property constitutes a principal residence eligible for this homeowner's exemption? The following are common indicators that a property is used as its owner's principal residence and may be eligible for the exemption. Those include the owner is physically present at the property and makes it his or her home. The owner returns to the property after work. and between trips or absences. The owner's clothing, personal belongings are kept there, and other activities such as preparing your meals, sleeping, bathing, entertaining are performed at the home. Also, the homeowner files their tax returns as the resident of that property. It's on their driver's license and also on their voter registration. On the other hand, properties that do not qualify as owner's principal residence are like vacation homes or rental properties. The homeowners exemption program is missed by 40% of the residents in this city. And that's an opportunity that we need to extend to everybody, and we are very grateful to have the opportunity to talk to you about that exemption today and that tax savings. That way you can determine if your property is eligible, and you could go to one of our tables to check if your property has that exemption on it. Thank you again for taking the time to attend and for your attention. If you have any additional questions, please visit our staff at our resource table, and we'll take some questions after we discuss the veterans exemption. And to talk about the veterans exemption, I'd like to introduce Denny Estrada from our exemptions division.
Good morning. My name is Denny Estrada, and I work in the major exemption section of the Assessor's office. I'm also a retired Army major. So today I'm going to be providing you some information about the Disabled Veterans Exemption. The California Constitution and Revenue and Taxation Code, Section 205.5, provides for a property tax exemption that can be applied to the home of a disabled veteran or the unmarried spouse of a deceased disabled veteran. The Disabled Veterans Exemption reduces the property tax liability on the principal residence of qualified veterans who, due to service-connected injury or disease, have been rated 100% disabled or are being compensated at the 100% rate due to unemployability. An unmarried surviving spouse of a qualified veteran may also claim the exemption. To be eligible for the Disabled Veterans Exemption, a veteran must have incurred their injury in military service. Now, what kinds of injuries qualify for veteran for exemption? The veteran is blind in both eyes. The veteran has lost use of the two or more limbs. The veteran is totally disabled as determined by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs or the military service from which the veteran was discharged. The veteran has received a disability compensation rating of 100% from the Veterans Affairs Department because the veteran is unable to secure or follow substantial gainful employment. Regarding the disability rating documentation reviewed by the Assessor's office when evaluating a disabled veteran's exemption claim, the 100% disability and or unemployability rating as previously described must be issued by the Department of Veterans Affairs. Evaluations made by the personal physician cannot be accepted. The Assessor's office is aware that it may take time for the Veterans Affairs Department to issue disability and unemployability ratings. If the Veterans Affairs ultimately determines that a veteran should receive 100% disability rating, a veteran should file their exemption claim with the Assessor's office within 90 days of notification of the rating. The veteran should also file or until January 1st of the subsequent year, whichever occurs later. There is an 8-year statute of limitations order to receive the benefit. However, the benefit starts only on the effective date on the rating letter. Now, there are two types of levels of disabled veterans exemption: the basic exemption and the low income exemption. The basic exemption amount is compounded annually by an inflation factor. For example, in 2022, the basic exemption amount is $149,993. To apply for a qualifying homeowner, a qualifying disabled veteran, and also a homeowner should complete this and submit Form Board of Equalization 261-G and fill out parts 1 through 3 in the Assessor's office. Once approved, you no longer have to file an exemption. It will follow you in perpetuity unless there's a name change or change of status, such as you expiring. Then there's also the low income exemption. Now that's if you're also qualify for 100% disability exemption from the Veteran Affairs, but your income is at a certain level or below. In 2022, that current level is $67,335. And this means that also that $224,991 is taken off from your base value. So that's a big difference of about $75,000 between the basic and the low income. So if you qualify, you want to fill out BOE 261-G 4. In addition, you must accompany with the BOE 261-G. You must also submit what's called the EXM-137, which requests information on household income for the prior year. For instance, in 2022, we would be interested in your 2021 annual income. Now, certain veterans benefits, such as pensions, disability, and Social Security, as well as all income from other individuals living in the household, are counted towards the low income limit. Even though certain income may not be subject to taxation by the Internal Revenue Service, it may still be counted towards a veteran's household income amount for the purpose of determining whether or not the low income requirement is met. That's a common misconception. Many veterans say, I don't have to pay taxes from my IRS because of the disability benefit from the Veterans Affairs, but we do count that income if you want to file for the low income exemption. Now that we have covered the different types of disabled veterans exemptions and the requirements for those exemptions, let's go over the documentation that you must submit with your BOE 261-G and the EXM-137 if you're also filing for a low income exemption. In addition to that form, you also attach a letter from the United States Department of Veterans Affairs with a 100% disability rating or unemployability determination. Once again, it cannot be your personal physician saying you're 100% disabled. It has to be from the Veterans Affairs Department. Proof that the character of service was other than dishonorable conditions. And this will be annotated on your DD Form 214, and all veterans know the day that you leave service, you're issued one. Prior to January 1st, 2017, only honorable and general discharges were eligible for the exemption. But after that, anything other than dishonorable, you're eligible for the exemption. In addition, unmarried surviving spouses should provide a copy of their marriage certificate and a copy of the veteran's spouse's death certificate in order for them to qualify after there's a decease from the primary. If the veteran did not qualify during the veteran's lifetime, the unmarried surviving spouse must also attach a copy of the marriage certificate, a copy of the death certificate from Dean Logan's office, and a report of casualty, proof that the death was service-connected, and dates of the veteran's service. An unmarried surviving spouse may also be eligible if the service person died as a result of a service-connected injury or disease incurred while on active duty or as a result of active duty. In other words, a veteran may not have been eligible during his or her lifetime, but the surviving spouse may become eligible for the exemption upon the veteran's death. The spouse keeps his benefit until remarriage. If the remarriage ends in divorce, the spouse can reapply for the 100% disabled veterans exemption as well. Okay. Before I conclude, I would like to touch on a couple of things to keep in mind with regards to disabled veterans exemption. First, a property owner's principal residence may only receive one property tax exemption. For instance, as Frank stated, try not to get my PTSD.
Right.
I might have to file myself right now. Just joking, I don't want to. First, okay, you cannot have a homeowner's exemption and also a disabled veterans exemption. We'd have to take off the homeowner's exemption and put the disabled veterans exemption, which is a larger amount, and that makes sense. Secondly, when a property receives 100% disabled veterans exemption, it means the maximum exemption amount under the law has been or will be applied. It does not mean the property is 100% exempt from taxation. It's just that amount we mentioned earlier is subtracted from your trended base value that the veteran currently has. That concludes my overview of the disabled veterans exemption. Thank you again for your time and attention. If you have any additional questions, please visit our staff at the Assessor's resource tables.
And now we have room for a couple of questions. Does anybody else have questions regarding these two topics, homeowners exemption or disabled veterans exemptions?
Good morning, everyone. I have a question, actually. It's regarding, let's say that property taxes just, depreciate really low. Or let's say the home values depreciate. Do the taxes also depreciate also?
Our office has a program where we actually do it, what we call it Prop A, when the market does go down.
Right.
So you have your Prop 13 value, right? 2% every year from when you acquired it. And it goes up 2%, 2%. At some point, if the market value does drop below that Prop 13 value, you can file for that Prop A. Okay. We try to do it proactively, but if we don't, you can always apply for it, and then you also have the ability to file an appeal.
And also, does that go for also new home buyers? People who just bought a house and they're pretty much upside down on their loan?
Yeah, we don't look at the actual loan terms or anything, we look at market. And if it's the same thing, if you just bought a house and 2 months later the market collapses and now you're seeing everybody around comparable homes near your area drop, you may file for that Prop 8. But let's say once the market recovers and that Prop 8 starts coming back above, then you go back to your original base value trend line.
I'm also one of those great investors that purchased a house in May of 2006. So as soon as I bought the house, I changed my name to Casa Estrada to Casa Atlantis because it was underwater for a long time. Thank God it recovered. Hopefully the Riverside Assessor is not here, but I'm restored finally. So just joking.
Okay, I have a question. On the property taxes, are they based on the cost approach or on the market comparables around the area, or both?
Typically in a house or a single family residence, we look at the sales comparison approach. There's 3 approaches of value: income, cost, and sales comparison approach. There's a couple other, but they're very rarely used because they involve stock trade analysis. But typically for homes, you're looking at the sales comparable approach.
In addition, if you build a house brand new, we typically go by the cost approach because it's, but you also can file an appeal if you don't like that. And you could say brand new house, compare it with the sales market, and maybe the cost of your materials and your contractor were higher than what the house is worth. Then we would take a look at it with the market approach and enroll that value. It's in those cases.
Okay, because my homeowner's insurance, I think the homeowners, the insurance, like say there's damage, say there's fire damage to the property, they'll go based on the replacement cost to replace something that's fire damage. So, I'm just saying that all those variables, they kind of like relate to each other, based on your taxes, on our taxes that we pay. You guys are saying that you guys are going based on the comps around the area.
Yeah. When we value a property, we go by the comps. But if, let's say, you do have damage or a fire, you can file for misfortune and calamity. Okay, and we'll take that into account. We take all the information, we supply that to the auditor controller, and they will decide how much the deduction on the tax is. Also, if you always You always have the opportunity to file an assessment appeal with the Assessment Appeals Board section of the Executive Office of the County of Los Angeles, and we will gladly take a look at the property at that point as well.
I have a question about the homeowner's exemption. Is it possible for a husband and wife to both carry a homeowner's exemption on separate properties? In my case, I moved in with my mother to care for her, so I was there for about 2 years. My mother passed away. I stayed there. My husband's still in our home. Is it possible for us to both get a separate homeowner's exemption?
It has to be your principal residence. Like if you only stay there 2 years and then you move back, then you probably would not qualify because that's a temporary thing. But since you stayed there, yeah, and you continue and you plan to stay there and you're going to leave your husband all alone, then yeah, you can apply for the homeowner's exemption.
The assessor's office also reports the Board of Equalization homeowner's exemption, and they go by social security numbers. So if they say, hey, there's 2 social security numbers being used with homeowner's exemption, they're going to notify you guys and say, which one do you want to use? Most likely you cannot use both in that case.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frank and Danny. If you don't know, if you have already applied for the homeowners exemption or the disabled veterans exemption, you can actually go to our website. That is assessor.lacounty.gov. On the home page, there is a property search bar, and if you type in your property address, there's a field that says exemption. If you see homeowners right next to it, or disabled veterans right next to it, that means you've applied for it. If there's nothing, that means you have not, and you need to apply. This pretty much concludes our presentations for today. But before we conclude the program, I will welcome some of our community partners to make a few announcements. First, I would like to welcome the Huntington Park City Community Development Department.
Thank you. My name is Luis Rodriguez. I'm the planning manager for the planning division in the Community Development Department. We handle all of the accessory dwelling unit cases, and we process them. And so we are out there to talk about the guidelines, that we use the state guidelines. And we have applications to show you what the requirements are for filing. And we'll answer any questions about whether it's conversion or new build. We can answer all those questions, zoning questions, and the process for applying and what it goes through in terms of getting the permits. Every day I wear a tie at work, but today I'm going to the LA County Fair, so excuse my attire.
I also went to the LA County Fair last night, and there's a few more days, so get on it if you have not gone this year. I now would like to welcome Abigail Mejia, District Director for Senator Lina Gonzalez.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Abigail. We are here. We're very excited to be here. We have our resource table outside where we get to provide services about the state. If you have any questions regarding any state policy, happy to answer any questions you guys have. So come on by and get some resources regarding our office. And then quickly in Spanish, hola, mi nombre es Abigail y estoy con la senadora Lina González. Estamos aquí afuera tenemos recursos del Estado, so por favor vayan y agarren los recursos del Estado. Gracias.
Thank you. So now I welcome Andy Molina, Huntington Park Chamber of Commerce, CEO.
Thank you, Aldo. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're with the Chamber of Commerce here in Huntington Park. If you're planning to open your business, grow your business, establish your business, network with a lot of community partners, come and see us. We're out there promoting the Chamber of Commerce. We work very closely with the city and other elected officials around the area. So stop by and pick up all that information. We don't want to take it back. So please stop at every booth pick up all the materials. If you can share with your neighbors, your coworkers, your partners. Okay, thank you again for the tax assessors this morning. Bye-bye.
And there's also lots of food left over, so please take some food on your way out. Next, we have Janet Godoy, she's from the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So the Department of Consumer Business Affairs has been around for over 30 years, and we serve as a centralized consumer protection agency for LA County. So any of you that may have any concerns pertaining to a purchase of an item that you purchased that most likely was defective, or let's say, for example, you didn't receive what you paid for, or let's say, for example, the services that you paid for were not complete, you're more than welcome to file a complaint with our department. If it's something that we're not able to assist you with, or that there may be another agency that may have jurisdiction over that matter, then we will make the appropriate referral. We also investigate anything that has to do with deceptive business practices, fraud, and we bring those cases to the attention of the District Attorney's Office, LA City Attorney's Office, Attorney General's Office. We work with local law enforcement. So if anything is, we're trying to stop the fraudsters from defrauding you as a consumer. We also provide a wide variety of services, anywhere from our small claims court advisory program to mediation, our foreclosure prevention. For those of you that would like assistance with, let's say, for example, you may be in default or you may be having financial difficulties, we also provide you with information and resources on how to bring that mortgage current. And we also have our rent stabilization unit that also provides information to both tenants and landlords on landlord-tenant rights and any existing protections that may be out there. So please feel free to stop by my booth. We're straight across. I do have some brochures available, at least so that you're able to make a connection with our department. Visit our website at dcba.lacounty.gov so that you could also learn more about our services. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. And next we have Ramon Cordova from the Department of Regional Planning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. The Department of Regional Planning is here today to provide zoning and land use information for all the unincorporated areas such as Walnut Park, Lawrence Firestone, Lenox. Tables right out in the back. We also have handouts for the ADU policy in the unincorporated areas, and also the SB9. SB9 is a new state law that was passed last year that allows lot splits. Even if your lot's only 5,000 square feet, you can do a lot split, a 60-40 split, and I have the information back there too. And also we have information on a new plan that we're working on. It's called the Metro Area Plan. And basically what this plan is that we want to create a new set of design and development standards for areas that stretch from East Los Angeles all the way to Lenox. All these areas, whether it's residential, commercial, and industrial, will have one set of design and development standards. So we're really excited about that. So please stop by my booth in the back, and we'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Sol Castillo from the LA County Library.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Sol Castillo. I'm the new library manager at the Huntington Park Library. We have a resource table, so please stop by to go ahead and learn about our different available resources for all of our LA County Library, not just Huntington Park. And I just wanted to mention that all these great organizations that are here actually do promote their services at our libraries. So usually most residents go ahead and stop at our libraries and get all these resources available for you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we have Laura Zuno from Funeraria del Ángel.
Hello, thank you for everybody being here today. I'm here to talk about something that not all of us want to talk about, but it's the most important thing, not only for us, but also for your families. I'm here representing Funeraria del Ángel. We have over 1,900 locations. We're under Dignity Memorial. We are part owners of Rose Hills. We have a lot of cemeteries like Live Oak. But mainly we're here for the community. You know, it's not only for us, but it's also giving back to the community, making sure that when you're no longer here, your family's prepared. You know, your family's prepared. We're the ones that get that first call. So we're really important when it comes to somebody passing away. We helped your family file that death certificate. We make sure that we leave them, you know, the guide to do the reporting, Social Security. We are also really well partnered with our veterans. So we also give a lot of benefits to our veterans. So if you guys need help with anything, any questions, we're also giving a free personal planning guide to each one of you. You know, it's completely free, and it's a journal that answers 95% of the questions we ask your family at time of death. So fill it out, you know, why not give them that weight off their shoulders? We're right outside, and we're giving them out to all of our families. So stop ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this pretty much concludes our formal, oh, there's somebody else? Oh, I'm so sorry. We have Treasurer and Tax Collectors Department.
Good morning. My name is Sergio Marquez. I'm here to talk to you about the other thing that nobody wants to talk about, which is property taxes. You know, so there's death and taxes, but my department, I want to promote our online payment system. So propertytax.lacounty.gov is really what we want to promote. We want you to pay your taxes online. You know, sending a check or paying in person is really the old way of paying taxes. It's really to try to pay them online. So it's propertytax.lacounty.gov. Our website has been revamped. You can also go to our department website, which is ttc.lacounty.gov. It's a very easy website. It has a lot of information. My department is not the assessor's office, right? We collect the taxes. We enforce collection of taxes. We conduct tax sales, but we also do a lot of other things. The treasurer tax collector invests the county's money. We borrow money for the county. We also handle decedent estates for the public administrator. So when people die and they don't have a decedent, they don't have next of kin, we handle those estates. So we do a lot of things on behalf of the public. We provide a social service in that aspect. But in order for us to be able to do that, we need to collect the taxes. And that's the main role that I'm here to represent. We do have a booth out there. I'm sure you all got the little boxes, the little banks. And so that's just a sign that we want to promote people to save their money, invest their money, and safeguard their money. Okay? Thank you very much.
I was in a rush to end, but you know, we're finishing on time, 11 a.m. Thank you everybody for attending the 2022 Homeowners Resource Fest hosted by the Office of the Los Angeles County Assessor. Reminder, we have lots of food, so take goodies, visit the resource tables outside, and have a great day.
Thank you.